All right, let's jump right into all these functions and even introduce a whole bunch of things that are going to be very important to us when we head down the objects in class. So I'm up on my Replit, and you can see that my main.py, my main program, there's nothing in it, but I have a series of other Python programs. I have the circular formula program that you saw from the first video, and I'm printing high and by. That's a function. Getting radius, printing radius. Getting area, printing area. Getting circumference, printing all, printing. We put a whole bunch of things. Now, there's something new here I want to point out, and I'm going to build upon this throughout this whole video. You see this fancy if statement, if underscore underscore name underscore underscores, if that is equal to main. Now, first of all, this main has nothing to do with the program name. What this does is basically, if I launch this program from a script, from a command prompt, which I'll do in a second, this if statement says, if this is run from a command prompt, then execute the code that is within this decision of if underscore underscore name underscore underscore equal to name. So if I was to run this program and I do Python circular formulas py, it ran this program. It said, okay, print high. So print high from circular formulas. That's this up here. And then I said print all. I called this function, and print all did all these functions. Prints the diameters, print the radius, print the area, print the circumference. And then I said print by. And again, it launched this, or called this function here. This code down here will only run if I launch this program, circular formulas, if I launch it basically from the command prompt, or it's the primary program that I'm launching from. And it's the same thing if I go to rectangle formulas. I have this code in here, and if I run this, let me clear the screen. If I say Python and I say rectangle formulas.py, all right, same thing. Now, in the previous video, I did say I'd do a square formulas, but squares are rectangles. They're just a special type of rectangle. A square is a rectangle where all the sides are equal, right? So I decided to, instead of doing a square formulas.py, I decided to do a rectangle for, because I can still handle the squares. Some planning there. And then we have the triangle. Oops. Highlighted the wrong screen, wrong window. If I say clear and I run triangle, and if I would spell it correctly. So if I go to triangle, I have this if statement here that basically says, if I run this program from this prompt, it's the primary program, then do it. If I run the program from any other method, I don't have to do that, right? That's going to make more sense in a second. Well, you know what? I worked really hard on these programs, really hard, put a lot of stuff into them. Let's say I want to potentially use all that stuff into main. I could follow one of two approaches. Approach one, I can sit here and I can copy and paste, move all the code from circular formulas to main, rectangular formulas to main, and do a copy and paste. No, I don't want to do that. Boy, that can get really sketchy very, very quickly. Because first of all, I was kind of sneaky here. If I go and take something like get area, I have a function inside circular formulas called get area. If I go to rectangle, I have a function in there that says get area. That's going to only be used for the rectangles. And then if I go to triangle, guess what I have there? I have a get area in there. So I can't just copy and paste and put them in main because I can't have two functions with the same name in the same program. So what I'm going to do, and you've been doing this for a while, I'm going to import those files as if they were libraries. And that will afford me the ability to use all those functions in those given programs. So I'm going to say, right now I'm in main.py. I'm going to say import circular formulas. I don't have to say py. I'm going to import rectangle formulas, and I'm going to import triangle formulas. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to do a quick copy and paste, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Copy and paste this over to main. Sometimes you are allowed to do copy and paste. And I'm going to get rid of print all. You can see I don't have any function defined for high and by. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to copy that. Boy, Nick, you're doing a lot of copy and pasting. Yes, I am. And you're going to see I'm going to clean that up. And this one, I'm going to say main. And main here. All right. So I now have a main program. It imports circular formulas. It imports rectangle formulas. It imports triangle formulas. It has its own functions. Print high, print by. The default for inside this program will be main. So when I run this, what's going to happen? Well, if I typed everything correctly, and I say Python main.py, it says hi from main py and by from main. Wait a second here. What? Okay, so why didn't it, because I imported this stuff up here, how come it didn't print this stuff down here? Again, because I didn't call circular formulas from the prompt, from the script. I called circular formulas, or I imported circular formulas. I imported rectangle formulas. I imported triangle formulas from within this code. So when I branched over to that code and I grabbed that code, it said, no, it's not the main item. So that is why it didn't execute these lines, didn't execute these lines, and didn't execute these lines. This code down here is only going to be executed if this is the program from the script, the main program. Now, what tends to confuse people is this main here has nothing to do with the main program name. I'll repeat that because I garbled it up. This main has nothing to do with this main. All right. This just says if this is the main program, the fundamental program, whatever. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it gets a little confusing. Main.py tends to be a convention that we all use. That's your main program. But this here has nothing to do with this name. It does have to be __ main. But you can see here, __ main, and it's in. So don't worry about that. Don't let that really confuse you. You do want to start using this convention because when we start working with objects and classes, guess what? We're going to be doing a lot of importing. We're going to be doing a lot of importing from other files, and what you want is this down here. So if you need to run code from specific files but nowhere else, this is going to accomplish that. Alrighty. So now we've imported all these things. Let's begin to use it. You know what? Let's go down here, and to make it easier to read, I'm going to put a blank line. I'm going to print a blank line first. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want all the formulas or all those calculations from circular formulas based upon a field that is 100 meters by 100 meters. So if I go back to, give me a second here. If we go back to Kansas, scroll over, there we go. If we go back to one of these fields, let's say that this circle has a diameter going across of 100 meters. All right, so give me the information associated with how much stuff is within 100 meters. So now I'm going to say, okay, circular formulas, point or dot. What function do I want to use? I want to use the print all function. We go back here. I want everything to be printed. I want all this stuff. We spent so much time building this print all that will print the diameter, the radius, the area, and the circumference. Why not use it? And why not use it with just one call? Now, we do have to give it a parameter. If you remember from our discussion, we said, you know what? We're always just going to send up the diameter, right? So this diameter we're going to say is 100 meters. Now, let's run this program. Let's run main. Let me clear it, clear the screen. And I'm going to say Python main.py. And says hi, I can stretch this out so it's just a little bit prettier. Hi from main, the diameter of a circle, the diameter of 100 is 100. The radius of a circle, the diameter of it is 50. The area of that circle is 7,853. Circumference is 314.16. Right? We'll clean it up just a little bit more. So next time this is what happens with programming. We always want to kind of keep cleaning it up. Let's run this again. All right, so it's a little bit cleaner. How about if I want to use the functions from the rectangle formula? I want this rectangle right here, right? Well, that rectangle is the same diameter, the same length and width as the diameter of the circle. That's good to know. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to scroll up my screen so you can see it. I'm going to say print. I'm not going to say print. I'm going to say rectangle formulas dot what? Well, look, it has a print all statement too, but this one's a little bit different. This one, I have to give it the length and the width, right? So this one, I got to provide it a little bit more information. The circle, I just got to give it diameter. For the rectangle, I'm going to give it length and width. So I go back to main, and I'm going to say print all 100 by 100. You'll notice two functions with the same name, we're not going to have any conflict there. We're not going to have any conflicts because those functions are contained in other programs. And again, to clean things up a little bit, let's run main again. Oh, okay. So we get all this diameter stuff for our circle. We get the area of a circle. You know, we get the perimeter of a circle. Good. Well, let's go back, and even though we won't use it for the farm, for the irrigation, let's do some triangle stuff too. We put it in there anyways. Maybe we need to cut out a piece of the pie or something like that. So maybe I need to find the area of the triangle. So I'm going to say triangle formulas spell it right. And here, triangles are a little bit different. I intentionally did this. Triangles, I didn't do a print all. In triangle, I do have a print area and I do have a print perimeter, right? And print area is the base and height. So I got to provide it base and height. Let's go back to here. And I'm going to say print area. I'll give it a base and height of, again, because this isn't part of our cornfields or anything. The base is 20 and the height is 7.5. And I'm going to have another triangle in there. And I want to print the perimeter of this triangle. And to print the perimeter of the triangle, I need to give it 3 sides, sides A, B, and C. So print perimeter A, B, and C. And since this is a math class, I'm going to say one side is 5, the other side is 5, and the other side is 7. I'm just kind of throwing these numbers here. Let's run this program. First, I'm going to clear, and then I'm going to run pi again. And we got a whole bunch of things coming out. We have the information associated with a circle. We have the information associated with a rectangle, and we have an information associated with the triangle. You'll notice though, we're being launched from main and we're leaving from main. At no point does any of this code below here mean anything to main. But you know what? I don't like this program. Nope, don't like it one bit. It's pretty cool, but I still have a lot of redundancy here. So, where is the redundancy? Well, if I go through every single one of these programs, they all have this print high and print by. Every one of them. We want no redundancy. When we start working with projects, redundancy is a bad thing. So let's say down the road, I need to change the content of print high and print by, right? How would I do that? Well, I would have to go to every single program and make those changes. So I don't like this redundancy. Let's clear this redundancy. And how would we do that? You know what? Let's create another program. So I'm going to close this up real quick and I'm going to say, create me another program, and we're going to call this high and by.py. And since I already created, I don't need to do that. And here's this high and by program. I created this high and by program before the video, and basically it has the print high, print by. I remove the defaults because this is going to be a generic program now. And let's use that in main. So I go back to main, and what am I going to do? I'm going to import high and by, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to say high and by down here, print high, but now I have to give it an argument to pass to the parameter, because if I don't give it anything, it's not going to know what information to use. So here I'm going to say this is coming from main.py, and I'll do the same thing down here. High and by, print main.py. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of this stuff right here. Wow. That code cleaned up really nice, right? So let's run it. Hey, look, high and by is coming from main. High and by, here's by. You know what? Let's clean this stuff up real quickly. So let's go to circular. Let's get rid of high and by. Let's get rid of those functions. let's go down where they're being called. I'll do the same thing down here. Quick little copy and paste. And I would do that, you know what? I would do that in every one of these programs. And I will do some quick copy and pasting. So I won't do quick. We'll say this is coming from rectangle. And yes, I know I forgot to import it. So we'll go to the top of the screen, import high and by, get rid of it internally, go back to circular. I forgot to do it in circular. And let's do it in rectangle. What am I doing? I'm missing the triangle. Hold on. I'm not sure why that ended up being closed. Import high and by. Get rid of them here. We don't like redundancy. Fix it down here. So we cleaned up a lot. Right, we cleaned up a lot of this stuff. Inside main, all those high and buys, those are now being imported. Okay, so we cleared them up. Let's run and let's see what happens. We say Python main.py. Okay, that worked. That's good. So the high and buy are working. Let me clear the screen. Let me do Python circular formulas.py. All right, the high and buy is working there. Let's clear this. And let's run Python rectangle formulas.py. Yep, so high and buy is working there. And let's do the triangle. So clear this. And we see that the high and buy worked inside the triangle. So even though we did a lot of work here to get all these functions and stuff like that, I can now use these functions anywhere within this project. I can call them, I can import them. Even the high and buy got rid of all this redundancy, right? Later on, when we get into objects and classes, this becomes crucial because these functions now will become methods inside a class to do certain things to the given objects and stuff. So we covered a lot of material. And if you have questions, obviously reach out to me. Love to hear from you. But you can see, even though there appear to be some complexity associated with these functions, once you get over that initial hump of the complexity and you understand, okay, all this stuff becomes very modular and we're putting things in where they need to be. So later on, I don't have to worry about a given function if I know it's been tried and true before. So that being said, let's go learn something.